know this is something I absolutely love to do, as I think it's important that all of us, whether we are a practitioner of human resource management, a supervisor, or just managing our relationships and our homes, these are people-centered policies and ideas that HRMAB shares with us. And so for us, I think it's important we pay close attention. I'm joined by the president of HRMAB in herself, Tisha Peters. Tisha, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson. Good morning.
Let me say it first. Caesar's greetings.
Caesar's greetings to you too.
And Nancy Solomon, who was so kind last time we were together to spend so much time with me. Nancy Solomon, who leads the Labour Management, she chairs that Labour Management Committee indeed of HRMAB.
Good morning,
Ladies,
Pearson.
good morning to you as well. Caesar's greetings to you as well,
Season's
Nancy.
greetings as well. Good morning.
Good to see you. So are you a Christmas baby?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, I love Christmas. I was actually in Trinidad a couple of weeks ago, and as I arrived at Piarco, there was parang music going on and on and on. I just fell into the Christmas spirit. So my tree is up. I ordered my pastels. I'm making punch of creme. So yes, I am totally a Christmas baby.
In other words, you cannot do pastels. You can't make them.
No, I can make them. It's just it's a lot of work, and I have a friend who does, so I just order from her.
Why not order, right?
Why not
Fair
order?
enough.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
What about you, Nancy? Are you a Christmas baby?
Definitely.
Really? How do you do Christmas?
Similar to Tisha.
Chinese.
We are both Chinese. So all the pancha creme, Christmas tree is up, pastels. I can make, but I prefer to buy now at this stage in the game. But yes, I am really Christmas. Actually, I was due on Christmas Day.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was born 10 days after. So my birthday.
Congratulations. You're a Capricorn?
Yes, I am.
Just as I am.
Lord,
We
these Capricorns.
definitely.
There you go.
Yes, we're good people, Pearson.
So you understand?
I understand. I understand. I understand.
Indeed.
We understand.
There's no argument about that, folks. There's no argument at all. Where were you born, Tisha? What month?
April. I'm an Aries.
Kadir.
Could you? Yeah, we sympathize with
That's
yeah,
all right.
it's
That's
okay.
not your
It's okay.
fault, though, you know.
Yeah, it's okay.
Not your fault.
It's your parents.
I am outnumbered here, Barbados. So you help me.
All right, let's look at what we're doing now. Let's reflect for just a moment, Tisha, on 2025, your first year in presidency.
Yes.
And so what do you see are some of the highlights of 2025?
Oh, we had so many good things happening in 2025. Even before I became president as vice president, we had the construction of the Alexa Hoffman case. Nancy, along with Michelle Russell and Michael Koyman, were a panel. We also obviously had our elections. We had lunch and learn sessions as well, and we also had our gala, which ended, which was on November 2nd. Sold out crowd, excellent, as we recognize HR professionals across Barbados and the Caribbean. So those are some of our highlights, of course, and just looking at our membership and just really trying to just bring our members along and upskill and everything. So those I think are some of the highlights for me.
And when you stop and reflect, what sense of joy or pride does it bring you?
I think just knowing that we're still relevant and we have a lot of interest in HRMAB and a lot of young people who are still interested in joining the association and giving back. So we also launched our volunteer program. We also launched our podcast. But our volunteer program, we saw about 30 young people coming out as volunteers. So we did orientation. And I think that was really interesting for me and really impactful because you still saw that people were very much interested in the field of human resources and what we do. And that was a really exciting experience for me.
And for you, Nancy, sitting as chair of the Labour Management Committee, what were some of the highlights for you?
Well, we started off with the opening up of the labor migration. Belize, Dominica, Barbados, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, having opened up that market, really brought a lot of opportunities for employers here. And that discussion, which is one that's ongoing and still is for HR practitioners to now navigate, how do we manage and deal with that new element. Then we had, of course, the minimum wage, the increase, and then another increase coming in January 21st, I believe. And the impact of that and how organizations have to plan and manage for those increases. And of course, then we had the introduction of the family leave legislation, which now gives fathers paternity leave for the first time. I think Barbados is one of the only countries that now has legislated that. So those changes on a labor landscape means a lot for HR. It's a lot of different elements that we have to consider, looking even from things like leave, because now we have to plan for more. Maternity leave has also been extended. You have 14 weeks as opposed to 12, 17 if you have multiples. So, you have a lot of planning on the HR end, and the legislation is coming. They're coming, and you have to keep aware, keep updated, keep your organizations aware so that no one's caught or believe that they're caught by surprise.
And so, Tisha, because HR sits in the middle of that relationship, employee and management,
Yes.
and you have now to make sure
Yeah.
that either side is satisfied
Yeah.
and is protected, as Nancy just said. What are some of the things that the organization HRMAB is doing so that your practitioners are themselves prepared to manage both sides of that relationship?
So we've done quite a lot in terms of upskilling, as I said. So we've provided training and resources for our practitioners. So our Lunch and Learn series, which ran from September to November, was filled with a lot of things. So introduction of AI. In fact, our conference last year was strictly on the Human Tech Expo, and that was fantastic. It was like the highlight of 2024. But introduction of AI, mental health in the workplace, looking at change management, and a whole series of topics. And so giving our practitioners the tools that they need in order to make sure that they are also equipped to deal with some of the changes that are coming on. We also had a session with the National Insurance Scheme. That was sold out. Like our Lunch and Learn, we had, like 20 people attending. For the NIS session, we had over 100 people. And it was just like, wow. And it was so impactful. We have to do a part 2, so we look forward to that in 2026. And we partnered with the Barbados, the BCSI, the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries, partnered with them for that particular session, and that was a really, really good session for us.
Keeping track, Nancy, of the constant changes to legislation after legislation after legislation, and all of these changes are happening almost at one time. Making sure that you get it right. Talk to me about what are some of the concerns raised to you as chair of the Labor Management Committee that our practitioners of HR are saying we can't grapple with this somehow?
Well, what I will say is that, and let me first give the how can you keep up to date. Definitely being a member of HRMAB, keeping your networks, because as HR practitioners, we cannot do it all. We need that support team, and I think having other HR professionals that you can call on, you can rely, engage, because we're all facing similar challenges. So sometimes one person may miss something, or you call a friend and you're like, okay, so I missed that one. So I think definitely that's one of the solutions to some of the things. But in terms of the challenges, I would say definitely navigating. Still, the Employment Rights Act is a challenge for many HR practitioners. Navigating the process, the procedural aspect of that, knowing how not to misstep, because a lot of times what makes these cases end up at the tribunal would be procedural missteps. We all have an idea of what the Act allows and doesn't allow, but it's the procedure, the little nuances in the legislation that trips many HR practitioners up. So that piece of legislation is still a challenge for many HR practitioners. But again, the solution is sometimes just the consultation, talk with your other colleagues, and reach out to seasoned HR practitioners, and just let's brainstorm on what is the best approach before you take action. Again, before you take action, not take the action and then you consult, but before you take the action. And I think that then they'll be better able to handle some of the challenges that they may face in the workplace.
I say all the time, membership brings benefits, folks. I see what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. By being a member of HRMAB, you can lean on the experience of all of the other HR practitioners as well and seek guidance as to how one approaches what one has to do. So my suggestion to you today, if you're not yet a member, join HRMAB. If you're an HR practitioner or any of the allied people, join HRMAB, because membership truly brings benefit. Tisha, let's look forward to 2026.
Yes.
First of all, let me ask, because do you get consulted before legislation is taken to Parliament?
Not on a wild scale. We were asked to give comments on a recent bill on the recruitment bill that came out. So we provided some sentiments like that. But we are obviously working with the Ministry of Labour to deepen that relationship, and we look forward to deeper consultation in 2026.
And I'm sure the same thing holds for you as Labour management as well.
Yes.
You want to sit at the table before,
Correct.
so you explore all of the options.
Yes.
If you could.
If we can.
Would you
Of course.
insist?
I would, definitely, because I think it's important for HR to be seen as, and as Nancy said, that the Employment Rights Act is one of the most challenging legislations. And if we are able to sit at the table and even just give our input and see how we can make it better before it becomes an issue and we understand how it is, I think that would help a lot. I remember when the Employment Rights Act came out, I sat at some, I think it was at Savannah Hotel, there was a session there, and I remember being part of that discussion and being part of it and still working through. but it's still a challenge because there's so many nuances in labor. It's not just black and white. Lots of gray areas, And as Nancy said, the misstep that some people make, it's just the little things. You may not include in the letter that you should have a representative, or you may leave out when you finish with the decision that you can appeal. And so there's so many nuances with the act that sometimes people forget or they misstep, and you just have to be able to really have the right consultation and the right partners in order to make it happen.
When you read the tea leaves for just a moment, Nancy, of how labor is changing, because you're seeing changes made to legislation, and it must be to some point. What do you see that point is, or what do you see to be the next set of moves that we as people in HR need to start paying close attention to of those moves so we better understand and prepare?
I would say the changes are trying to anticipate the change in the type of worker, really, that we are having. Because, and this was a conversation Tisha and I were having just before we came on, the workforce and the type of employee has changed. The millennials, the Gen Zs, they are not they're not the baby boomers, they're not the workers of previous, and the attitudes and the personalities that are coming with it. So I believe in some cases legislation is trying to safeguard both sides, so the organizations, the employer as well as the employee, but it's trying to put those safeguards in place, because recognizing that the employer needs protection. I'll give an example. So in the Employment Rights Act, for example, you have a notice period that's required to be given to the employer. Previously, that wasn't the case. There wasn't a legislative thing that you had to give a minimum notice to your employer. So there's that type of balance, and I believe the law is seeking to anticipate this new workforce and how we need to protect both sides. So that would be where I'm seeing it going.
Yeah, but the landscape is also changing, because once upon a time, employed till thy kingdom come.
No.
Now you're on contracts, and contracts are some delicate things to navigate as well.
Yeah, but that again is in response to the type of worker you're having, because this new employee, the millennial, no one is staying at any one job forever. Job hopping is a norm. It's not even frowned upon anymore. That was a taboo, something. You're leaving a job today, start tomorrow. There are people who in 1 year will have 3 jobs, and that will be completely normal. So they don't want to stay. They actually want the contract. They want the 2 years and come out because they want a new opportunity. They want to do something else. Their interest, their engagement, they want to be challenged constantly, and that is the new worker. So again, the legislation is just seeking to try to anticipate that environment, that mindset, and then plan ahead.
Planning, Tisha, because there are jobs that are going to be coming soon that will no longer exist, and new jobs are coming on. In terms of getting ready for those changes, what is HRMAB doing? So
we've again done a lot of upskilling, and I think looking at the challenges, I wouldn't say challenges, I'll say the excitement of AI and technology, because I think as HR professionals we also have to embrace technology. I am a strong component of technology. I love it. In fact, I almost did Network Plus. I did the course. I didn't do the exam.
Yes.
And I try to blend a lot of things like marketing and business development with my skills. But I think just giving our members the opportunity to experience what AI is. So our conference last year, which was very AI focused, had a lot of ways that you can utilize AI. And looking at 2025 and looking at 2026, that's the trend that is going to continue to happen. And I think technology is not going to replace humans in a great way. There are some jobs that will naturally go away because of the technology, but we also, at the heart of everything we need are people, and we have to embrace it, because if we don't, you're going to be left behind. There is AI that is going to take you and help you plan. Like I had a spreadsheet that someone brought to me the other day, and I used Copilot, and we were able to go through it instead of having to spend hours trying to work through it. In 5 minutes, it gave us a summary, and it was exactly what the person was looking for, because she was stumped, and she's like, I didn't know how to figure this out. And it was stumped, right? And I think it's just really embracing technology. So we will continue to talk about AI and obviously technological tools, human resource information systems, learning platforms, and that kind of thing, to ensure that our members continue to upskill.
AI responds to community thought and experiences. What you get is what the majority says. As a I don't know. And so therefore, how does one, sorry to say AI now, how careful should one be in responding to what one gets from AI?
You have to do your due diligence. You know, you can't just take it verbatim. The technology has evolved. I mean, obviously it's getting better. So, you know, everybody knows ChatGPT. There's Copilot. A lot of businesses are using Copilot because it sits in Microsoft, and it's more reliable, and it gives you different feedback. You have Gemini, Perplexity, and I think you just have to be careful what you're doing and what you put in, reading it over, and of course when you're writing it, making sure that it still sounds like you, and it's not just, you know. So I think there was an article I saw, and I shared it in our chat, where someone in a newspaper, a news reporter actually, utilized AI to write the article, and at the bottom it said, "Do you want me to?" And so you have to be very careful.
Yes.
And it became a big thing, right? I mean, you're a reporter, you should do your due diligence. But he just left it in, and it became a furor all over the world.
Your reputation is shot.
Correct,
Indeed.
correct.
And so, Nancy, look forward to 2026 for me. What are some of the things you think as employees we need to watch very carefully, and what would you want the model employee for 2026 to be like?
Pearson, what a question. What a question you've presented to me. I want the model employee to be more engaging, to be open to feedback, communication channels on both ends. And I'm saying for the employee, talk to your employer. If you're having challenges, let them know, because that's the only way we can provide the support. A lot of times we hear, you know, the employer doesn't care, and, you know, no one understands me, but they're not sharing. They're not letting us in. So I would say the communication. I would like the model employee to understand that while you are part of the one small part, your small part makes a big difference. So what you do matters, i.e. you need to show up on time. You need to be present, because it matters. And sometimes I think they don't realize what they see as their little part, how much it impacts the whole. So definitely bringing that message on, ensuring that they understand that they're important to the rest of, and how we get what we get done, right? They matter. As Tisha said, we have machines, but we need employees. We need people still at the heart of everything we do. So that would be my model employee. And my message for employees going forward in 2026, be aware. Yes, we want employers to be responsible, and we hope most employers are responsible. But as employees, you should be aware of your rights. Be aware of the legislation, the benefits, and what you are allowed as well. So whether it be from the Paternity Leave Act as men, be aware that you are entitled to it, to your own rights under the Employment Rights Act. But I definitely think employees need to be aware of what their responsibilities, their responsibility to the employer, but also their rights as an employee in the organization. So yes.
Well said. And Tisha, from where you sit as president then, what's down the line for HR and HRMAB for 2026?
Well, we're seeing a lot of shifts in what's going on in human resources. You know, there is a thought that by 2030, you'll have 30% of Gen Zs in the workplace, which means that we're going to have a whole different landscape. You know, there's talk about reverse mentorship. There's talk about on retirement. There's so many things happening. You know, I even saw an article about the death of the resume, where that's going to move away. They're going to move to more skill-based assessments. And so keeping up with these trends are really important. And so in terms of 2026 for HRMAB, we are definitely putting on our conference next year. So you can look out for that in October. So you'll still be seeing us. And we are also going to be continuing, going to do another case, this deconstruction, in January or February of next year. We also going to continue our lunch and learns, and we continue to engage our members. But I think what's most important for us is really that community feeling and that connection, and really continuing that trend in terms of keeping our members engaged.
And we hope to continue in 2026 or talking HR with HRMAB as well.
Course,
She didn't
yes.
say that, but I'm saying it now. Indeed. And so I wish both of you well. Thank you, HRMAB, for spending the year with us.
Thank you.
Really, and because I think we're a lot more enlightened
Yes.
and empowered as a consequence of our engagements with you.
Thank you very much for continuing the partnership. We really appreciate it. And we look forward again to 2026. You can't get rid of us that easy. We'll be back. According to Arnold Schwarzenegger, we'll be back.
Fair enough. You're forgiven. Folks, don't forget, membership brings benefit. You just go onto the website, www.HRMAB.org.bb. You can become a member right now. You can consult right now. You can become an associate member right now. But just go to the website, HRMAB.org.bb, and see the benefits that can be derived on. There are a whole host of practitioners and experts who are prepared to help you manage everything that you have to do as you navigate your life through human resource management. If you're a supervisor, this is also for you as well. Don't think yourself not an HR practitioner. You are an HR practitioner, as a matter of fact. So there are levels of membership. So do see for yourself by going to the website HRMAB.org.bb.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.